I've been followed. I've been called all the kind of black things under the sun.
I was a field football coach, and my team was never good enough. I used to get, you
can only work with what you got. The referee is not going to please 22 people. It's not possible. I can just about please the one wife I have. Do you know what I mean?
So we're back again. This one's slightly different. We've got a couple of special guests online who obviously we'll get to introduce in a second. But again, as we always start with, please, if you like the vid, please share, subscribe, follow, post, comment, because obviously we won't cover everything we do within the show. So, we'd like to continue it on, and, if there's anything we missed, by all means, we admire any sort of feedback. So today, as I said, we've got two special guests, known on the refereeing circuit. Some may or some won't. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to hand it over straight to them so they can just introduce themselves and where they refereed and the levels and whatnot. So we'll start off with Lanray first, if you can introduce yourself.
My name is Lanray. I've been a qualified referee for about 14 years, but actively refereeing for the past 6 years. I'm a current level 4 referee, which means I referee up to country level. And also I do some grassroots footballs on Saturdays and Sundays when I'm available.
And Emil?
What do you want to know? How long have I been refereeing?
Yeah, just introduce yourself.
Oh, yeah, I'm Emil.
Where you been refereeing?
Yeah, I was refereeing for a long time-ish. I was playing football up until I was about 40, not in the Vets League, might I add. And then I've been refereeing since I was about 42, refereed up at level 4. So I was doing contrib like Lanray. Then due to knee injuries and old age, had to step away. Referee across the whole. I cut my teeth on the Brixton Summer League. Brixton Summer League. And that is an experience.
Well, we'll get to that in terms of refereeing standards. But the first and foremost, the big question is, why would you become a referee? That's a question obviously everyone will ask.
When I stopped playing, first of all, I used to play Saturday and Sunday, and then I started to play just Sunday, and then I started to play every other Sunday, and then when I got injured, I stopped playing as often. But then it was the wife that said to me, "Why don't you do refereeing?" And I said, "No way, Jose. There is absolutely no way I'm going to do refereeing because she's an umpire. She does netball." So anyway, she paid for it. She paid for the course, and she said, "If you don't go and do the course, then give me back my money." So I went and I did the course, and it was a good crack. I had a good buzz. My mentor, I think it was Tundi. You know Tundi Lanray?
Yeah.
Tunde was the guy, and I knew James was there and a couple of guys, and they were really enthusiastic. I was the only black person in the class. But it's a real easy class, really. They want you, they want the refs. And once I got through, it was good. Got a good buzz from it, especially when I started to accelerate through the levels and got involved with some proper football as opposed to just the grassroots stuff.
Henry?
I mean, my story is quite unorthodox, but it'd be very similar to Emil himself. I studied sport at university. I wanted to be involved in sport. I was a field football coach, and my team was never good enough. I used to get,
you can only work with what you got.
I tell you, every Saturday was me coming back thinking, what could I have done better? These kids have to pay them to play, but they have to pay the club to play. Yeah. So it was really disheartening. I wasn't getting no joy or anything else from it. So one day I was at uni and I came across a book by David Ellery. I don't know if you guys remember this guy.
David Ellery. Yeah.
Referee. So that was back in 2004. So I took the book, and for some weird reason, I read it within 3 days. And I thought, this is what I'm going to do. Like, forget coaching, forget everything else. I'm going to become a referee. So that was one of the things that actually, made me choose refereeing. Then also I watched a game that my team played. And I put my hands on my heart. I did not slag off referees, but it was terrible. Emil, it wasn't you, by the way. This referee was terrible. I thought, if he's getting paid to do that, I'll do better and I'll get paid as well. So that's how the journey of my refereeing began back in 2004.
So now you know how it feels when you're refereeing me then, yeah?
I'm actually doing much better now because I'm well experienced now, I believe.
Yeah.
Do you remember your first game you refereed and how you felt the night before and during the game and after the game?
Yeah, I remember the first one. It was Sunday League, and I made the cardinal sin of refereeing in the league that I used to play in. I didn't realize you should never do that, but I did that, and it was an absolute nightmare. And it was the missus came, which was embarrassing. I told her not to come, and she came to the game. And the night before, I was obviously very, very, very nervous. And I'm doing the game. It was in the deepest part of Essex, and Essex, proper Essex. So I was the only person there of color, and I think it was I was traumatized, but I wasn't afraid. I didn't feel, oh, I can't do this every week. I have been, since I got a bit more experience, sometimes I think, well, I'm not going to do it again. But that particular game, I remember it was baptism of fire.
And Emil, how did you perform that day? How was your performance?
Out of 10 or just in
out
general?
of 10? Oh, listen, I would have said perhaps -5. because well, obviously some of you guys know my temper. If you think I was miserable now, you should see me when I was young, when I was younger. But it was like these guys didn't want to play football. All they wanted to do was argue every decision and get all unnecessary. And plus there was a lot of racial stuff going on as well. And I came out that game thinking I was going to have a fight, pretty much.
My first game was a pre-season friendly just after the carnival in August 2004. No, sorry, 5 it was. And this was in Barking. I was still at uni, obviously. And I remember the night before, I was so excited. At the same time, I was a bit anxious, not knowing what to expect. So I had everything I needed packed in my bag. It was a walking distance from where I used to live, then in Barking to the pitch. For some weird reason, I left my boots, I left my whistle, and I left my flags. Yeah, first game. Story gets better. Story gets better. Remember I said to you, it was just after Carnival. So I got to the game, players weren't ready, and ref, let's start the game. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna say something is missing. My whistle is gone. So one of the players went in his car, got the whistle from the Carnival the day before. I didn't have my boots, and they had a spare boot which was yellow, so I turned it down. I had my blue 110s, the Air Max. I had to wear that for my first game, and everything went wrong. I gave an offside from it throw one because I wasn't too sure. This was my I was pretty. I was awful. And I didn't get paid.
You're lucky I weren't there. If you would have given that offside against me, I would have been furious.
I didn't get paid. And then times it was 20, 25 pounds.
Oh,
you're not getting paid for this. You're terrible. I'm like, yeah, I know. It's my first game. That's the learning curve.
Yeah, you do have moments where, especially when you're doing the course, they hype it up. And and they say this and they say that, and it's nothing like that in the real. Not when you're at Parslow's Park or Hackney Marshes and those places. Those are the guys that come to kick about, and basically just rip into the referees and each other even. Do you know what I mean? But like I said, I cut my teeth proper. I did so I must have qualified the March or whatever, and then I did that dodgy game towards the end of the season, and then the Brixton Summer League started, and I live in East London, so I used to drive all the way to Croydon, just by Croydon there, just short of Croydon, and that was an interesting baptism of fire. You had the weed, you had the jerk chicken going, or you had everything, but the football was good, but the behaviour, especially the behaviour was hard work, very challenging.
Being that you guys are the referees, so in a way, you're a fan as well. So does it ever occur to you guys that whilst you're refereeing a game, that you're actually watching it at the same time on the perspective of a fan watching a game?
I used to play, And many moons ago, as a kid, I used to play at Haringey. I wasn't going to break in, but I could play. But tennis was my sport. So I played tennis, I played squash, and at a pretty good level, and at a pretty good level. But when I started to play football, I played football and enjoyed football. So yes, there are some teams and some games you don't mind doing because you come back and you think, that's good football. That's good football, and you enjoyed it. It's challenging, but challenging for the right reasons. And I don't know if that's ever happened to you, Lanra. I've done one where I've played an advantage, and they've scored. And if you look close, you'll see me go, yes. but only because I allowed the game to flow. I read the game right, basically. That's all. Yeah.
Well, I mean, one of the reasons why you want to become a football referee is because you enjoy football yourself. So like Emil said earlier, yes, you want to enjoy the game and also make sure you're in control. So yeah, there has been times when I've been, I was carried away, i.e. a goalkeeper has made a good save, and I found myself clapping, oh, what a save that was. So it's just the instinct of you being a football person. Take care whether you're a football referee, you still want to enjoy the game sometimes. So yes, I do enjoy, refereeing or being part of a good game.
And I know certainly when I was doing a lot of the academy, I was doing the Chelseas, the Arsenals, the West Ham, the youngsters. That's when you just lose your head, because some of these kids are really, really, really good, and you can't help but say good skill, good save keeper. That's so, and you can't do that on a Sunday with some of the Sunday lot, because they got no behavior. But obviously some of the Saturday lot, like yourselves, you don't mind giving them an encouraging word and say good run, well played, or whatever. Because like Lanra said, we're a fan. We actually like the game as well. We do like it.
I've got a question for both of you. So once your course was finished, what entry level, like what level did they give? Is it like a level that
I mean, once you sign up, I think in my day, because it's all changed now, I think, is it 9, Lanray?
Level 9, yes.
Yeah, you go in a 9. And the thing that Tundi said to me, while you're learning the course, you could actually referee and get paid. You know what I mean? And when I did the course, if you did 5 games, you then got your course fee refunded. So you go in, but once you go in at that level and you just referee, you basically do park football and youth football and that sort of thing. But then when you start moving up through the gears, it's a different kettle of fish. It can take over your life.
Both of you have come to referee in 2 different ways. Emil, you said your wife encouraged you to do it, and Lamra, you said you saw a book. In the sport of football, the man in the middle, the man with the whistle, is the man we love to hate. But without them, or woman that we love to hate. And without them, there's no game. What I want to ask you is, when the pressure of a referee, because if one team loses, the common denominator is the ref had a poor game. What, in your mind, constitutes a good game for a referee? Because it's rarely ever spoken about. Because you are actually part of the game. I know you're not scoring goals or anything, but
well, I think Belenre knows when you go, as Del said, when you're going through, and he said, when you go, so you come in at a 9, and then you start looking to go for promotion, and then you get assessed, and then as you're being assessed, the assessor will tell you the good bits about your game and the development points about your game. You follow? So. If you get a good assessment, then you're on your way to get to being promoted in due course. So a good game is, for me, is when you make the right decisions, play a lot of advantages, and the game's free flowing, and even the odd bookings. A good game sometimes could be there's no bookings, and that you manage the game. If you manage the game and there's no bookings and you haven't wussed out a decision, then you can't beat that. But there are games where especially Ladra, I think you recently qualified, got your 4, when you're in a stadium, and even though there's about 3 or maybe 200 people or even 1,000, and they start singing ref, you don't know what you're doing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It can get in your head. It kind of, because you're human. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, of course.
I mean, you're the common hate figure on both sides.
Oh yeah,
fans and players and possibly management staff.
Yeah,
it could be. I'm assuming it could be a lonely place there. It's just you and your line.
Yeah, indeed.
Yeah, I know, and you'll know, Lanray, from when you go on the line on the Ryman leagues, and you're on the line, and you got the crowd behind you saying stuff, and you can hear it. Do you know what I mean?
And you can't turn around to say
You can't turn around. No, you
It'll be
can't
harsh.
give them the evil eye. You can't do nothing.
But Emil, hold on a minute, Emil. You do it to Rob all the time, and
Yeah.
Summer.
Yeah, but that's not Ryman League though.
Yeah, but that's not Ryman League, number one.
That's
And
not
number two, number two, we're family.
So Lamry, because obviously we've heard of obviously a lot about the FA in terms of refereeing recruitment. So obviously, and a shortage of. So I mean, what would your suggestion be to kind of get more referees on board? Because it seems to be a real shortage at the moment. And obviously, some refs obviously getting promoted where, if we're honest, maybe they're not strong enough. But again, the game can't go ahead without referees. So what would be your suggestion to get more referees through the door?
Jeff, before Larry answers to that question, I just want to add a bit more to your question to both Lanray and Emil. Since what was his name? The black referee.
You're already.
Yeah.
Then we've not seen no other black referees get promoted to referee in a Prem or even championship.
Yeah.
So what would both of you say? What to kind of change that, where we're seeing
It's
more
return.
black
Sorry, Lanray, you go ahead.
I was just gonna say there is actually 2 ethnic minority referees currently in the football league.
The young guy, the fireman.
One in the championship as well.
Yeah.
I mean, the low-profile referees or officials, but we definitely have a couple, promoted last season. This season?
Yeah, last season. And the thing is not the problem, it's retention. And I'm sure Lanray won't go into it, but Lanray and I are aware there are referees of color who you reach a certain point and you just can't you just can't break through. Exactly. It's just like the football at top level. For the amount of people of color involved in the game, there's not enough sitting on the front seat. They're in the backroom staff and doing all the stuff, but they're not on the front. And it's an education. It's going to be an education right through. So getting refs is not the problem. It's retention.
Yeah. When you talked about when you went to your course and it was all hyped up, was there mentions of quote unquote Premier League? That's how Lanray, that's how they get you, man. That's the candy.
That's the goal. But when I was playing, when I was refereeing, when I started out, you just wanted to, they tell you about this thing where you could do a double jump to get to the supply league, to then get to the champion, to get through. But once you get to a certain level, I came to the game late. I came into refereeing late, but for the injury and age, provided I could meet the criteria with regards to fitness and the competencies, I would have gone on. But it takes over your life. It can take over your life, and it's not a life for a man of my age with children and responsibilities and the rest of it. So it's there, but it's the retention. And people say, I don't need this. I don't need to be going for promotion every single time, and then I get knocked back for whatever reason. And like Jeff said as well, sometimes you just ain't got the mettle. You can be shook. Trust me, you can go out there and do a game and you can be shook. You can go and do an assessment. The assessor will come and tell you 5 good points and 5 development points, and he read you chapter and verse, and you're like this. You know what? I can't do this.
To say it will take over your life. In terms of, let's say, if you got a game on Saturday, what's your preparation like for a referee? What's your preparation like during the week? What do you lot do?
Well, Lanray will tell you, when you're on the supply league, your day's gone. Your day's gone from the morning. When I was running the line on the Ryman, and I was with a referee, because remember, the referees at that level, they're looking for promotion as well. So they want the game's at 3:00. They want to meet you at 11:00 for you all to travel together, get there 2 hours, 3 hours before kickoff to sit down to have this all kind of so your day is gone. Your day is gone. But at this level, you pretty much just walk with your whistle and your book if you can remember it.
I mean,
No, but at that level, is it like something you do in terms of your fitness during the week, so you're all right for the Saturday or the Sunday?
Well, at that level, you referee in the week. You referee week games as well, Tuesdays, and if you do, and then you do the because the Prem have an under 21s league as well. They play on a Wednesday, and if you've got availability, you can do it. You can travel. You can take over. You can take over your life. But what is not nice, what Lanre will tell you, you as in your local grassroots levels, you want to be getting cup finals. You want to be getting showpiece matches. So technically, if Lanre gets promoted by his league and to become a level 4, there should be no reason why he's not doing a cup final in his Sunday league or his Saturday league. But that doesn't always happen.
Right. And then that's what I think was going to touch on, Larry, because obviously going back to a point in terms of like getting promoted, in terms of refereeing, how is it done? Is it simply a case of a point system? Because obviously, as it's senior level, you have to give a score, for the ref. Even at Middlesex, you give a percentage of what
all of them.
All the leagues.
So is it a case of who accumulates the most or the highest can get up for promotion?
I mean,
is that how it works?
We get marked in both. I mean, get observed in both ways. So you have the observation mark, and you also have what you know now as the club marks, which obviously club secretaries, managers, or coaches will give the referees on the day. So observation marks obviously is what you want to try and get the best of, because down to club marks, it doesn't necessarily get you far. That's what I've learned.
But that's just it.
So you have
as you said.
Yeah, so you have 5 observations every season. I mean, it's an average of your top 3. And remember, you have a pool of referees in every league. So if you're, top 10 in the observers mark, you are looking at a promotion. Because what they know is some referees are very good with certain clubs. So like yourself, with other referees, once you see them, I know who that is, that's James. You're already giving me 90. Whereas some referees aren't friends with certain secretaries. So which is why we have both ways of getting a referee, promoted. However, it's not the easiest of things these days.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I don't know how it was done, Emil, back then. But I'll give you an example. This current season, I've had 2 observations. I have a pool of 34 referees. I'm currently sitting 7th. But as a new level 4 who just got onto the supply league, I'm sitting 31st.
Yeah.
Wow.
So observers, I'm up there.
Yeah.
Mark, I'm down there. So they don't know who I am. They haven't, met me yet.
Yeah.
So it's
but this is your first season as a 4, is it?
That's correct. Yes.
Yeah. So, but it's all part of the process. But then there are some people who just go past, and you can't. Yeah, you can't watch that. You can't watch that. Yeah.
And that's where it's very important when we go back to it. Sorry, Rob. We were saying it's very important in terms of like representation as well. Because obviously, if we're encouraging all walks of life to kind of be a referee, it's very important that we see guys up at that top level just like them. Because representation in any sort of walk of life is very important.
But the difficulty as well, is you have to have, just like our general lives, you have to have people like us in the decision-making seats.
Yeah.
And 100%. Unfortunately, that's not there. So that's I think that has a bearing. Yeah.
In my experience, since I've been playing football from 9.5, 10, I've only been refereed by 6 black referees or referees that of ethnic background. And if you think about it,
bro, you got a good memory there, boy.
When we used to do Sunday League, it was a father who would referee, and that person generally would be Caucasian.
Yeah.
So even when I was going into secondary school, I don't think through my secondary school when we were playing Essex Cup or London Cup, I don't think I was ever refereed by a person of ethnicity.
Yeah.
So why is that? Because even at the lower ages, when you're 9, 10, or 11, you rarely ever see a person. And that could be because the dad doesn't want to do it. You understand?
There's a lot of things, and Landry, there's a lot of things. I did a lot of the academies, and a lot of the times it's the mothers that are there.
Yes, see.
Caucasian, and if there's a black mother, then it's the black mothers. The fathers might be there, but not to the level of it's not balanced. So I'd go to many games, and even when you're talking 18-year-olds, when they don't really want to be walking with their parents, at that level, their parents are there. They tend to be there, and so the lower levels, the grassroots level, again, even when I do the summer tournaments with the kids, they're there, but not in the people are not in a, they're not as interested. I don't think so. There might be an element of that. I know when I was playing as a youngster, when I was your age, I believe it, I was your age once, Rob, right? When I was 9, I walked to the park and I walked back. Because I had to, and like you said, then I was a handful. There was all of us were plenty of all black people players, but there was no black officials, no nothing, absolutely nothing. And so it was something you're used to. Even when back in the day, when you go to Hackney Marshes, consider how many games are going on at Hackney Marshes. Now it's changed, but it was very, very, very few.
Just to back up on what Emil was saying, in terms of like black parents, I remember when we was going, when I was playing, when we first went into the academies with Arsenal. Now, there was 4 of us, black kids. We came from the same Sunday league teams, myself, my cousin, Rowan Ricketts and Jermaine Brown. Now, we was coming from Kennington, Stockwell and Brixton. And then you had Stephen Sidwell, who was coming all the way further down, Malden, all the way further down. But you would see his mum and dad would always bring him on a train.
Yeah.
But then when he comes, we would always meet up because we all used to take on a Northern line. But when he gets to Kennington, then they would see myself, my cousin, Rowan Ricketts and Jermaine Brown as 10-year-olds, 11-year-olds, making our own way all the way down to Highbury.
Yeah.
So I think that is something whereby, as black parents, that really have to change.
They didn't really encourage it. They didn't really encourage it.
You're on your own kind of thing.
Yeah,
but where you see other kids, their parents was always there and encouraging them.
Yeah.
But I said, on the flip side, now I see a lot of parents of both colours and creeds, but what I'm saying, if the ref doesn't turn up, I'll ask you guys, imagine you went to go son or your cousin plays, 10 years old, the ref hasn't turned up. I can personally say I would do the referee for that game, but I wouldn't be the first to put my hand up. Do you understand me?
Yeah.
I would not be the first. And I guarantee you a lot of you wouldn't be the first either. So that you can say that, the parents are not encouraging, but generally, me speaking, if I went to with my nephew watching play football and it's like, the ref hasn't turned up, his car's broken down, is there anyone who can do it? My hand wouldn't be up first. Someone will have to approach me.
I'll
have to look at the kids.
I would, Rob. I would. I honestly would.
But
you see, but what Rob's saying, and I think what he's saying is our parents' generation. When we was going, our parents' generation did it. So in the main, when my sons were going to football at 9 and 11, there was a handful of black parents. But and loads, obviously, of the Caucasian parents there. And if the ref didn't turn up, I would never put my hand up to go and
there you go.
Do it. I would never go up to go and do it.
So then, Rob, Emil, then what should we say then? Is it what can we put that down to?
No, it's education and it's a mindset. It is changing. Do you know what I mean? It is changing, but it's not because this didn't get to how it is now since yesterday. Is a long time.
Yeah.
Long time before we get to where we are. I mean, you can't believe, as we said, that since Rene, there's no black referee in the Prem, not one, and yet there's a couple of referees in the high echelon who have done stuff that they're getting smack on the knuckles and they put back in play. They ruined that man, and the man is a lawyer. The man is a magistrate. Do you know what I mean?
I think we touched on it in terms of attitudes, in terms of obviously teams that you've refereed, but in terms of let's say you can see a match is simmering. Are you especially with two volatile teams, you can see the tackles are flying? Do you ever get to a situation where you're really reluctant to use that red because you could potentially get into sort of a real brawl that includes yourself sometimes?
Two things. When I was refereeing on the Supply League, that was the only weapon I had.
The red card.
The red or the double yellow. trust me, because obviously there are some teams you can talk and they get it. But there's some teams there is absolutely no point. My thing, especially at the grassroots level, is if their own teammates can't quieten them down, what am I going to do with this magic whistle? Do you know what I mean?
So do you think the blue card should be used at a higher level? The new descent card, would you use that at a higher level?
Nah.
Do you think it's effective?
Nah. It is effective at a lower level, because I think that we use it on our Sunday league as well. And yeah, it is very, very, very effective. But there's some teams you just don't need to. You know, and like Lyra was saying, you know, especially when you look referring at grassroots level, and you're on a Saturday league, say a good Saturday league, and you're doing Div 4, Div 3. Do you know what I mean? Those kind of teams where they're not even used to ref turning up, sort of thing. When you're cutting your teeth on those games back in the day, I would have thought, yeah, a blue card probably would have helped, but up to a point, maybe not, because you know they don't hear flashing them a card is not going to do nothing.
I think though, up to supply league level as well, something that's quite useful is the use of the sin bin. Not really blue card, but you know, I wouldn't take it to a professional game. No chance.
No.
Why is that though?
No.
Do you think respect for referees will increase if there was
no, listen, but the thing is, I mean, the thing is, the players that play rugby are different.
Yeah.
Are different to the footballers and the wannabe footballers in a Sunday morning leagues. Do you know what I mean? No. But on the professional game, you just don't need it.
Emil, you're quite tall, and Lanre, you're a bit on the short side. No, just like me.
Why are you saying?
Sorry, how tall are you, Danny?
No, we're the same height, Lanre. That's what I'm saying. You're
I'm 5'7". I'm 5'7".
You're not the same height. Lanre's taller than you. You're not.
I'm 5'7", Danny.
But it depends. It depends on what shoes Danny's wearing.
No, forget the afro.
I'm 5'7".
Forget the afro.
No, but obviously when you're reffing it, you being on a little bit smaller, is it how is it like when you come up against the bigger players and stuff like that? Is it a bit challenging for you? Are you a bit, you know what I mean?
Feel intimidated?
Yeah.
To be fair, no is the answer, because what I kind of do is first is to use the captain to your own advantage. The second thing is get to know your players. So for the game itself, you probably have spoken to other referees. Oh, I got this team this Saturday. What they like. So you have a rough idea what that's going to cost you grief. Yes, the 6'4" players will try it with you, but I have my cards to my advantage also. So all I do is take my stance back, put my hands in my pocket. What do you want? Your choice, really.
Yeah. The thing is that, like, you can't. The way they coach you, you know, you try to manage. You try to use the captain. You try to use the, you know what I mean. But sometimes you can't manage 24 people.
Plus the benches. So
and plus the benches. You can't do it. But when, to be fair, at a higher level, when I was refereeing, these guys can be, you know, they can be intimidating because for them it's their life. And I know certainly when I used to do a lot of pre-season stuff, when you've got 18-year-olds trying out to break into the first team and stuff like, you know, and you turn up to the car park and the car park looks like a showroom. You know what I mean? And there's all these youths and it's their right in there, and you just come along there to do your little bit in the middle or whatever. But these kids, they got attitude, they got truth. Some of them 18-year-olds, especially the ones that come from overseas, some of them, they're bigger than you, big like house and all kind of thing. But it's their life, you know, it's their future, it's their thing. So you get that up to a point. But after a point, all you have is your card and a quiet word and an admonishment. If that don't work, you just use your cards.
And obviously touching on that, like you said, you've been obviously refereeing for a long while yourself, Lanre. You're obviously going through the academies now. So how did you deal with it, that in terms of certain matches where you may feel there's sort of a racial undertone, or even sometimes direct, sometimes, you know, it's sometimes under their breath where they may think I can say this and get away with it because you can't prove it. How did you deal with any sort of those sort of situations?
That's a very tough one, because it hasn't actually happened to me just yet, touch wood. I mean, I have had other referees that it's happened to, and I've seen a referee walked off the pitch. Yeah, that's it. I can't do this no more. And I've gone over to give my support to this referee. So, I mean...
I've been followed. I've been called all the kind of black things under the sun. Mm-hmm. Everything that is black, I've been called it, and I've been followed by spectators, and I've had things said to me by players, clearly, both when I was on the line and have been in the middle. But there's a thing you do where you have to pick your battles.
Yeah.
I remember when I was young and green and keen, I complained about an incident that was racially motivated towards me. But then when I look at who I'm complaining to,
okay,
is there going to be any
exactly,
and nothing was done. So then I realized, you know what, I just have to manage it the way I have been managing through life, and just play accordingly. But yes, there are some incidences where I have had to deal with it. I've had games where people have said stuff that it's a clear. I had a team once, and he was calling me all under the things under the sun. Now, they weren't speaking English, but there's some words you can't say in another language.
Yeah,
that's just it just comes. And what can I do? If it is use my card. That's all I can do. Because at the end of the day, if his own teammates and players can't control and check him, you're not going to do anything. All you could do is ruin his evening or morning or whatever, and just send him off and hope that he gets a fine.
Have you had anyone be physical with you?
I've had in my experience, I've had the what we call the 10-man march, as in when you finish the game, it was a cup game, the whole squad started following me to the car. And the opposition team was saying, "Are you all right, ref? Are you all right?" It's me, yeah, I'm good. Yeah, but when I say I'm good, you know what I mean? I'm saying, but yeah, I've had that, and turn up at my feet, and I'm in my car and bang my car window and stuff like that. But and that was some of the places out in the sticks, and some right here in the middle of London.
An ex-colleague of mine who was a ref, who stopped being a ref because of the incident you just mentioned. It's a prominent league. I won't mention it for slander or defamation, but
we can take a guess.
Well, that's up to you. He had to be taken home by the opposition's manager. He said, "This is not a verbal threat. This will be violence." And he said, going back, I think he was only 8 months into his refereeing career. He was a young African kid like us. I think he must have been at 25.
Yeah.
And he said that league, he knew he had no business
being on. Yeah.
And at the moment, like you said, Rob,
struggles to get referees. So he done it, and I think it was the semi-finals, and it was so bad that the opposition manager had to take him home and said, "You're not safe here." And at that time, he put his whistle and his card down, and he said, "There's no protection for me here. That I shouldn't have to have a bodyguard being the opposition's manager." Damn me. And if it wasn't for the opposition manager, God knows what would happen to me.
I've had, I've sent a guy off, and he basically hacked and spat at me, and while he was effing and jeffing, not you, Jeff, but effing and jeffing at me and calling me on all the names again under the sun, according to my color. But for the grace of God, it could have got really, really, really unnecessary. Really, and I'm a grown man.
Just on that point there, what's your reaction when somebody actually? Because I think the most degrading and the worst thing you can do to a human being is spit. So how are you feeling in that particular moment?
Well,
are you thinking I need to react, or?
Well, unlike the thing is, we're all human beings, and sometimes, you bring the mood that you're in. If you start off if your mood is fine for the day, then whatever happens at work, it can phase you or don't phase you. Do you know what I mean? So, so when I've had situations like that, when I was younger, when I was younger, oh my gosh, especially on the Sunday league lots, because you remember these guys are coming straight from the pub to come and have a kick-a-back, do you know what I mean, and play and stuff. And younger, yeah, it's come very, very close to me having to defend myself.
I mean, that's it. And at the moment, it's kind of like it's a lifetime ban, isn't it, Larry? That if anyone gets a kind of physical or anything with the ref. So do you think that's a suitable punishment for that sort of behaviour?
Well, most definitely, because I had a very different experience, and it was a youth game under, I think it was. So this child was 11 years old at the time, under 12s it was. Wow. So this child is swore at, one of the coaches from the other team. I've heard it, I've called him over, he's changed his word. Oh, ref, I said, Doc. I didn't say, I'm like, look, if I didn't hear you, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, everyone stopped. Anyway, I've sent him off. Guess who was waiting for me in the car park? The mom. She had what the big dog calls, them big German Shepherd. I don't know how she knew my car. She was waiting for me right by my car. She goes, it cost my son 3 days. You've cost us £12. And don't get me wrong, I'm not really scared of dog, but that particular dog, I was scared. He was big.
You can't be intimidated.
I grabbed my car.
Those black people are scared of dogs, man. Black people are scared of dogs.
Someone had to call the police. Like, I wasn't going home. It was like, it cost him 3 games and £12. You're not going nowhere. Yeah. Explain to me what he's done. Like, you heard it. Everyone heard what he said. But he's only 12. But he shouldn't be swearing in the first place.
This is what I don't understand. This is my point about the man in the middle has no friends. He's a common enemy. Yeah. What you just told me is that mum has provided her son justification for swearing and then said, you're the problem.
Yeah.
So when you say, Jeff, is a lifetime ban acceptable? When you talk about Sunday League and Saturday League, who's enforcing that?
Exactly.
Well, that's another question I was going to get to.
Because they just re-sign elsewhere under another name. Yeah.
Or grow a moustache, grow a beard.
Yeah.
They can do
Jeff, they don't even have to do that.
I'm no disrespect to the authorities, but it is lip service. Do you understand me?
Yeah, of course.
At grassroots level, it is hard to, you're right, it is hard to manage. It is very hard to manage and for them to police it. But you have to be fortunate as to what league you join, because some leagues are very, very good. They will chuck the team out, not only just dismiss that player, but chuck the team out, and the team can't sign under any other name or new name. Whereas some leagues will chuck the team out, but allow the team to come back under another name and with the same sort of setup. So really, you have to be fortunate with the leagues.
Of course. So final question, obviously, just to wrap up, is more a case of like future aspirations. Like, where do you see yourselves? I don't know, maybe in a few years. Do you have aspirations to get to a certain particular level, ref a particular game? What would you say your kind of future aspirations are?
That's you, Lemray, I think.
I'm just taking it step, taking it as it comes. Obviously, Football League at the moment is what I'm looking at in the next, 3-4 years, if I can.
Football League really.
Well, I feel the man signing. Yeah. I'm just taking it as it comes, really. To be honest.
But Larry,
this new level.
Larry, what's the highest level you've handled so far? You've read so far, the highest level.
Well, it's known as the Rye. Well, used to call the Rye, man. Known as the Ishmael League.
Yeah.
So I do the Ishmael North and South at the moment, South Central. So that's what I do at the moment. Yeah. Well, I do the lines on there, but I do middles on the Supply League.
In terms of like fitness, like like where you come in, you give your he's giving a proper 100%, and then he goes at a 3 o'clock game. Are you not tired, or do you get what I'm trying to say?
Well, I'm very fortunate in terms of fitness, to be fair. So what I do a day before my game, I make sure I have a really, really good night. But 8 hours of sleep, definitely. So, and again, lots of this really helps me as well. So,
but you see, for me, when I was reffing on the Supply League, I couldn't do 2 games because I couldn't take the chance of being late for my next game. And if I'm going out with a ref who's, if I'm going out with a ref who's a level 3, he wants to meet at a certain set. So I couldn't do that. But what you do find is for me anyway, I'm at a stage where I've refereed some behind the closed door games with Spurs and some guys coming back, and Arsenal coming back for an injury and stuff. So I know what it is to work hard. And if you work that kind of hard at my age, you know, I'm 56. I think you know, you got a little something in the tank still. But it can, because I keep saying, it will take over your life. It can take over your life. It definitely can. And it's a good life if you can make it.
Yeah, of course. That question to you, Milda, like maybe how long do you see yourself refereeing for?
Well, my thing is now whether I can do. I mean, at the minute I still do Saturdays and Sundays, and I used to do the odd midweek, but now I don't do any midweek. And now the next thing is whether I'm just going to do Saturdays or just do Sundays.
Yeah.
Because I have to taper it off, because it's very challenging, very, very challenging on the old bones.
I can imagine.
Right. To me, I would just like to say that I'm always gonna argue with a referee. But one thing I'm proud of is I've never sworn directly at a referee or threatened them, or I don't generally go out to disrespect him. And to be honest, I think every football, I know people talk about respect for a referee, but it goes deeper than that, because again, they are part of football, just like the goalkeeper, the striker. Do you understand me? And if you look at over the years, I remember when Paolo Di Canio pushed the referee, you see players surrounding referees, and we always talk about, oh, they're most important to them, but we don't give them, not even the respect, we don't even give them the courtesy that this man in the middle is a human being. No one ever runs up to the boy.
And just like you said, Rob, with that recent ref who it looked like he was going to headbutt.
Now, well, it looked like he was going to headbutt him, but he was obviously talking to him. You know, but the thing is, basically, you can't react. You know, you just can't. You're not supposed to react. You just can't react.
That, how many players have ran up to the referee and quote unquote have nudged him with his chest? But
yes, I've had that. Yeah, no, I've had guys run up at me and shove me in my chest. I've lost my balance and I've gone back. But your normal instinct would be to jump up and do something. But because you're refereeing the game and you have more to lose than they have, as it were, you can't do anything. You just have to.
See how many pros defended him and saying, because when they talk about what was it, Collina, the old Italian referee, he was like the headmaster on the pitch. He would literally march 20 yards to you, and lay down the law. Yes, he was slimmer.
But now the mindset up to a point is changed and is changing, as you say, and they're trying to coach from grassroots up. And it's even changed in the Premier, because now you're not so much seeing the surrounding. But it's still a big issue. It's still a big issue being a black referee. I've been to games where, you know, and sometimes obviously when you're on the Ryman and doing supply, you've got 3 neutrals. So it's a referee and 2 other line assistant referees who are actual referees. When you're doing Sunday league and all of that, it's you and the club, you know, the clubs and the reluctant sub who's running the line. And so it's you one. Do you know what I mean? And like I said, I've had the 10-man march where, you know, the whole team was turning, look like it's going to get messy here, but you supposedly can't do anything. And there's been times where I've been to games and I've been in the stadium, and the stadium's about maybe 2,000, 3,000 people there, and no word of a lie, other than maybe one of the players on the pitch, I'm the only black official in the stadium. And so when I meet people, and you go into the refs changing rooms, there's an etiquette. But they would normally assume that I'm not the man in the middle and just talk around me as though I'm not there. But I don't do anything. You just take it for what it is, and just go and.
And I think you touched on it. We touched on it earlier in terms of recruitment, because that's how it starts. In terms of getting kind of more people who look like us to want
in the decision making.
And then further up, as you said, dismantling sort of the boys' club. If people like yourself are in the positions to make decisions, then maybe, again, it's all about representation. Maybe they may decide, okay, maybe I can do that as a way of.
And it is, and it, you know, and as Landry says, it is effort, and you do get marked by the assessors, and and club marks. But then, you know, the decision makers are assessors as well. So they may be old school guys. When I was being assessed, these were refs who, when they were in the assessors, they wore the black socks with the white top, and the white top of the socks had to be turned down to a certain height.
Ah, yes.
You see what I'm saying? So those people were the mind of that mindset. And I'm coming up with my all black socks and no white on it, and you'd get pulled on that. And that is the difference between you getting the promotion and not getting the promotion.
Managers were just the same. It's like, if you don't come dressed a certain way to a trial, the first thing they'll say to whoever brought you, well, he doesn't really look like
you don't look good enough.
Yeah,
absolutely.
But one more thing though, I want to ask you, how do you two feel about VAR and being in the game now? Are you for it? Are you against it? And do you think the refs that are actually up there, how do you think they feel about VAR? Because I feel like it takes some of the power away from you.
You know, when it works good, everybody loves it. When it it's still a teething thing at the minute. But what's going to happen is people are going to get used to it eventually. So by the time your children or your grandchildren are up and about kicking ball and stuff, that's going to be the standard. Just like the way it is in America with the stop start and the camera checking and all that sort of thing. It's just going to be some. I remember when they brought in the camera for the cricket, when they brought in for the tennis and the whole chinchillada. It's just gonna take a little bit of time for it to bed in, and because the game is changing. You know what I mean? The game is changing
way too fast. The game is way too fast.
The game is changing. You're not going to see any testimonials anymore, where guys have been at the club for 10 and 20 years and all that. You're not going to see that because it's a business. But at grassroots level, it's becoming more expensive as well.
Okay, perfect. I think that's a good way to end the first segment. So thanks, guys, for coming on.
Refs, we do appreciate you, not just you, Lamre and Emil. That's all the refs watching. We do appreciate you, and I apologize on behalf of all the players being one that does backchat the referee. But generally, sincerely, we do appreciate you because there's not a big line at the door waiting to get through. So we do appreciate you. And we hope more of them will come through. Maybe one of us here. You never know.
It's always opportunity there. And number one, Larry will tell you, we don't mind the back chat. You know, we don't mind because it's part. We don't want to be just running around and not used to our whistle and not talk. We don't mind the back chat, but it's when it goes beyond the back chat and a little bit unnecessary. That's what don't want. But everyone there from
you see, and Emil, just to add on that, on a personal note for myself, I enjoy when you do our games on a Saturday, simply because to me you bring that added bonus for me personally when I'm playing, because I know, because you understand the game and because of the level of how you referee the game. So for me, it's not just trying to beat the opposition I'm playing against. I look at it where I've got to impress Emil. Do you know what I mean? Because
you know what, that red card.
It's just
I'm always
I get what it's saying. It's relief. Sometimes we're looking to see what referee got, especially in the Church League.
And then when you see Emil, for me, when I see we've got Emil, I'm like, all right, he's done today. Like
and Landray.
But Landray doesn't do it anymore. He's kind of moved on.
He's only
that's the thing.
Twice.
Like, honestly, I think
I
think twice Landry's refereed us.
Emil, there's so many fouls on me that you let that stuff go, man.
I know, but you're young, you'll heal. And you need to give up the ball, Danny. That's what you need to do.
Hold on. Yeah, the amount of fouls that happen on me, but because I'm a defender, Emil doesn't blow it because I've passed the ball. Do you understand me? That's my issue. Remember that time I counted Emil? That's 3 times they fouled me. I'm gonna foul him once.
But all right, but hear this. You see, Jeff, though, when I say something to Jeff, I'll say just something to Jeff when he's playing, and there's a couple of other players on your squad that I say something to them, and they go, "I was like, is that my last one, ref?" And I go, "Yeah." They get the message. Do you know what I mean? But Rob, you ain't hearing me when I'm talking to you.
Emil, I showed you 3 times when they found me, and I said I should be allowed 1. So I'm saying 3 to 1, 3 is more. So I'm giving you the respect to say I'm gonna foul this guy.
And I thank you for your assistance, Rob. I thank you.
Also, you do us in the afternoon. So how are Clapton games for you?
Again, Clapton game.
You do Clapton games as well.
Yeah, Clapton games is a good. Yeah. both the women's and the men and the men. Yeah, no, good squad. Obviously, there are games you should have won and didn't, and some games you let slip. But good squad, I think. Good squad. It'd be nice to see the same squad turn out every week, if you know what I mean. You know, get your core players going. But you know, it works. Whatever you're doing, it works. It works. Because you lot was in a final or something before, innit?
Yeah, we won it.
And it got squashed. The lockdown, because of the lockdown.
Oh yeah. So I think we're just doing that.
You know what? On the whole, I don't think I've ever had a bad ref. I've had refs that haven't seen stuff, refs that I've got more angry with. I don't think I've had a ref where I said, "Oh, this guy's cheated," or "I don't think he's being fair." I generally can't say I've had a bad ref, so that's credit to them.
Yeah, there's refs.
I've had a bad ref. Hold on a minute. I've had a bad ref. Guess who it was?
It's not all about.
Don't call no names.
No referee.
No, David O'Leary.
No referee intentionally goes to any game to cheat. It doesn't happen.
Yeah, that's right.
It's easy for a losing team to say the ref cheated.
Oh yeah.
That's why I say it's a common denominator. But me, if I've been on the losing side, I can hold my hand up. Whether the ref got a wrong decision or not is different. Do you understand me? In terms of cheating,
and he's not going to please the ref. The referee is not going to please 22 people.
It's not possible.
It's not possible. I can just about please the one wife I have. Do you know what I mean? So 22 people, like, you know.